Hello Giants fans, thank you for watching the Giants Alliance channel. Today, I'm going to compare Corey Coleman and Binjimen Victor, the two players who in my opinion have the best chance at the number 4 spot on the wide receiver depth chart for the New York Giants. There are some other candidates who are very interesting as well, like Austin Mack, also out of Ohio State, and Derek Dillon. Some people also like David Sills, who's on the Giants wide receiver depth chart. But in my opinion, it's going to come down to Victor and Coleman for the number 4 spot on the wide receiver depth chart. Both players have a ton of potential, especially Coleman, who is the number 1 receiver in the 2016 draft class. He was picked first, ahead of Sterling Shepard and some other good receivers. There was also concern coming out of college, though, that his success was the result of a system at Baylor that used a lot of screen passes and just relied on pure athleticism instead of being a true wide receiver. And Coleman did struggle a lot at Cleveland. And it was shown on the show Hard Knocks when he was actually cut on the show. There was a concern that he wasn't always showing his best effort, so he was relegated to the second team, and he was not happy about that. So he went into the coach's office and he asked his coach why he wasn't playing, and that if he wasn't going to play with the starters, that he wanted to be traded. So Hugh Jackson and the Cleveland Browns did not hesitate to trade him, and they didn't really get anything for him as well. They ended up trading him to Buffalo for a late round pick.
One player was told to pack his bags.
Yeah, the Corey Coleman experiment is over in Northeast Ohio. Within the last hour, the Browns have confirmed they're sending the 2016 first-round pick to the Bills. In exchange, the Browns will receive a late-round pick.
Adios. Corey Coleman did not last very long on the Buffalo Bills. He was quickly acquired by the New York Giants in 2018, and he played well with Eli Manning as his quarterback. He played really well as a special teams player, where he excelled as a kick returner. So he should be considered the favorite going into this offseason for the number 4 spot. And he was actually the favorite last year for the number 3 spot ahead of Darius Slayton. But in my opinion, Binjimen Victor is going to win the number 4 receiver position on the New York Giants because he is 6'4" and he has a huge catch radius. So he brings something to the table that a lot of receivers on the Giants depth chart are lacking, and that's his size and his ability to play on the outside. There are concerns about his play strength because he is very skinny for someone at 6'4", and he doesn't have that elite speed. He only ran a 4.65 40-yard dash at the combine, so there's concerns about him against press coverage. But in my opinion, his strengths kind of outplay his weaknesses. Looking at the Draft Network strengths going into the draft for Victor, he has the alpha mentality to go get the ball. He has impressive grabs with full extension and plucks the football outside of his frame. His wingspan is massive. He has good concentration to haul in the football through traffic. He has a surprising ability to make defenders miss in space, and he can break tackles. So one of the most impressive things by watching his film and his highlights was his ability after the catch. And he's not the fastest receiver, like I said before, but he does have the ability to stop on a dime and create separation. So I think he can excel at the NFL level if given the opportunity. And I really like the way he caught the ball and had run after the catch ability. Like, he's very agile. He reminded me a little bit of Plaxico Burress in that regard, because Plaxico was also very tall, but he was able to juke out defenders. And I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere close to as good as Plaxico, because Burress was one of the best receivers in the entire NFL during his time when he was in his prime. But I really like Victor. If you look at his production in college, he had 18 touchdowns, and he played behind some really good receivers. Like 2 years ago, Paris Campbell and McLaurin were actually starters, and they've both had a lot of success. McLaurin's one of the best receivers already in the NFL. Campbell was hurt last year. He was actually picked before McLaurin. But I think because he was playing with so many good receivers like Austin Mack and KJ Hill, who was drafted this season, that's the reason he did not, as you can see, get as many catches or get as many opportunities as he probably could have if he was on a different team. Ohio State has been so good over the years, and they really spread the ball around. Justin Fields had a very good season, but he didn't focus on one receiver. Austin Mack is another receiver that the Giants picked up who has a lot of potential. Like Binjimen, he is a 4-star recruit. So, in my opinion, Coleman has the most potential out of any of the receivers fighting for the number 4 spot, fighting for a job on the Giants depth chart. He is so athletic. He's so quick. You can't really beat his athleticism, so I hope he can come back from his injury. But what I worry about with Coleman is his inconsistency. He did drop this ball for the Browns during their worst season when they went 0-16, and they could have won that game. So he gets a lot of flack for that. And he has had, issues with his, his effort and his injuries. He's had hamstring injuries throughout his entire career. He's coming off of a major injury from last year as well. But in my opinion, I think Coleman could end up making the team, but I would feel more comfortable with Victor as a backup wide receiver. And we have enough players who can contribute on special teams where I don't think Victor necessarily has to be a special teams player to make the team. I think Coleman has more potential as a starter, but as a backup, as a 4th receiver that can be used in certain packages, I would like Victor to make the team as the number 4 receiver. I really like his ability to catch the ball in the red zone. He has good hands. He did struggle a little bit with some drops and things like that at Ohio State, but he just brings something to the table that the other receivers don't have. His ability to go up with, defenders all over him, and he could still come down with the ball. And I think Daniel Jones is such an accurate passer that he can put the ball in places where only Victor can get it, and he can be a real weapon in the red zone. So I'm picking Victor to be the number 4 receiver for the New York Giants. I think he's going to end up winning that job. I think Coleman could also make the team, but if I had to choose between the two, I would pick Victor. I want to thank you guys for watching this channel. I've had a lot of fun with the live streams and making these kinds of videos. So please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.